One of the more lukewarm memes in the zombies community is that Call of Duty is coming to the Switch. And we've been hearing about this rumor since 2018 when Black Ops 4 was getting ready to come out. And it's never really been a pressing issue for the community, but it's always intrigued us to be able to have the ability to play zombies on the go, whether you're lying in bed or maybe on a road trip. It'd just be a nice little luxury to have. But for some reason, it's never really come to fruition on the Switch, even though there have been some instances that indicate otherwise. Like recently, there was Nintendo Switch servers that were active for Black Ops 4. Very strange. And Microsoft has also indicated that they want to work with Nintendo to get Activision Blizzard games on the Switch moving forward after they make the acquisition of Activision. And like I said, it's not a pressing issue, but more of a luxury than anything else. Well, fast forward to 2022, and Valve comes out with the Steam Deck. And when looking at the title of this video, I think I should clarify that yes, you can play Call of Duty Zombies on the Steam Deck, but now that our portable dream has become a reality, does the experience live up to our expectations? Does the Steam Deck change the way that you play COD Zombies? Should you go out and buy one specifically for being a mega COD Zombies nerd in 2022? Short answer, it depends, but I'm going to explain why so that you know exactly what you're getting into before you spend your hard-earned cash on this machine. So just in case you're unfamiliar with the Steam Deck, we're going to break down a bit of it right now. Now, this isn't a full review of the Steam Deck, but more of a discussion of whether or not this is worth it for the zombies community. The Steam Deck is a handheld console that is essentially a PC in disguise. It's actually very incredible. I do love it quite a bit. It runs on an AMD CPU and GPU architecture. It comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and you can buy a 64 gigabyte, 256 gigabyte, or 512 gigabyte SSD edition, and you could also put an SD card inside of the Steam Deck so you can have more expandable storage. The screen is 1280 by 800 with a 16 by 10 aspect ratio and runs up to 60 frames per second. The starting price is $399 for the 64 gigabyte storage model and up to $650 for the 512 gigabyte storage model. So it can get pretty pricey if you want it to be, but for $399 with what this thing can do, I think it's a great fucking deal if you ask me. On the front, you have your standard buttons, joysticks, and D-pad, but you also have two touchpads on either side that act like a mini trackpad, essentially. On the back, you have your triggers and additional buttons for mapping and all of that good stuff, just like a controller. Now, in my opinion, the Steam Deck kind of suffers the same fate that the Go XLR has experienced, which is a tool for streaming. I'll have it on the screen so you can see what it is. And that's basically that the company that made the Go XLR, they made this device so feature-rich that they had to use more mid-range parts and pieces to make sure that they could sell this thing cheaply and at a profit. And that is not a diss at the Go XLR creators at all. They did an incredible job. They literally packed a full-on recording studio into a box for $500. That is just beyond me. It's absolutely insane. But the Steam Deck is basically the same concept. The console is solid. It feels great to play. It's portable. You can use it as your own PC if you want to, but the triggers aren't the best. The joysticks aren't the best. The LCD panel isn't the best. Everything gets the job done and you can play comfortably for a long while, but just know that there's so many great features inside this thing that they had to kind of suffer the quality just a bit to get it to the price point that most people would want to buy one. However, the real star of the show here is the software. The deck runs a version of SteamOS that is highly optimized for the handheld experience. It's genuinely fucking great. You have such a clean and simple UI that's easy to understand and access. Everything is so intuitive. I wish more companies would use this type of design language as it is so phenomenal. And to be honest, I never actually realized how much a good UI makes me enjoy using a product. It's kind of an interesting psychological phenomenon. The base operating system that the console uses, unfortunately, is Linux. And I say unfortunately because, well, you'll see when we get later on into the video. But now let's discuss how the game performs on the Steam Deck, and unfortunately, it's a bit complicated, and I'm going to do my best to explain all of this clearly, but first, let's start off with the fan favorite Black Ops 3 Zombies. So if you're a BO3 shill like myself, then I am happy to say the Steam Deck is perfect for this game. All of the original maps and DLC run flawlessly. There are occasional hiccups when a lot is loading in at once, so I think it's more of an SSD issue, just kind of pushing in that data quickly quickly so that you can maintain a high FPS. But for the most part, you're going to get a locked 60 FPS with dips no lower than like 45, 50 FPS. And that's with everything at max settings. Truly, the Steam Deck is a fucking tank. And what's even better about having Black Ops 3 on Steam specifically is now you have access to a whole new variety of zombies maps. So if you were a PlayStation 4, 5, or Xbox player, you were not able to access all of the custom content that fans would be making for Black Ops 3 Zombies. Have you ever seen players play on those Christmas maps or Noah J's weird challenge maps or anything like that? Well, that was created by a fan or a game designer who wanted to make content for Black Ops 3. So all of the Black Ops 3 mods and all of the Black Ops 3 custom zombies maps work on the Steam Deck, and you can access them anytime you want. Now, this does take up a ton of space, but you just have to be wise with your management of, everything you put on and off the deck. Now, I have footage of myself playing on Nuketown, and I got to around, I think round 20 or something like that, and it was running flawlessly. Now, I'm not sure about the stability of every custom map out there, but I bet you that more of them will run fine than they won't. So what about all the different play styles? High rounders, speed runners, Easter egg completionists? Well, I suppose that makes things a little more complicated depending on how you are utilizing the Steam Deck, which I will talk about a little bit later, but this is definitely more of a casual experience. But as you can see in the footage right here, I'm beating the Horizon Drac boss fight. This was a full quest playthrough of about an hour and a half. I had no crashes, no bugs, no glitches, nothing. It ran perfectly. Yeah, there were a little bit of frame drops when you take the Wonder Sphere, but that is about it. As far as the speedrunning crowd goes and the high round crowd goes, there are ways to do this comfortably, but you're going to need to treat your Steam Deck more like a console or a PC, which kind of defeats the point of the Steam Deck in the first place, but it does show its strength in its versatility, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So here is where things start to become a bit of a mixed bag as far as user friendliness, compatibility, and stability. Since we are limited to our Steam library and using Linux, we are only able to play zombies experiences that are on Steam and have been optimized to play on the Steam Deck. Now, don't be fooled by the lack of a seal of approval for the game. If it says it can't run on the Steam Deck, it just means it hasn't been authenticated or greenlit by Valve. Some games just don't have that sticker. Some games do, like Cyberpunk, and they even will still run shittily, so I don't really think that stamp of approval means anything. But sometimes the games just won't load on the Steam Deck, and that means obviously you just can't play it. It's a bit of a mixed bag, but you just keep trying things out, and eventually you'll figure out what games work and which games not. So I'm going to explain how this all goes down with Call of Duty Zombies. So with World at War and Black Ops 1 Zombies, you can definitely play both of these titles on the Steam Deck. However, the controls are slightly funky, and navigating the menus is a little tricky as you have to use the touchpads as a mouse and the triggers as your right and left clicker just to access any menu to get to where you want to go. These games in particular also have issues with button mapping, but luckily there is a Steam community menu that allows you to use control layouts made by other players, which is really such an awesome feature. I wish more consoles and games did stuff like that. Now, Black Ops 2. Unfortunately, I have had nothing but bad luck with this particular game. The game is always losing files on Steam. I always have to verify the file integrity or do a full reinstall. And when I'm at home, okay, that's not too big of an issue. But if you're on a road trip with your family, or maybe you're in a hotel that has really bad Wi-Fi, and if you want to play Mob of the Dead for like 10-15 minutes while you're waiting for something, you're not going to have ease of access to do so simply because of all these file issues. That being said, it does work and you can play Black Ops 2 Zombies, but I still found that this game gave me the most trouble with frame rate and stability issues. It's just much more of a hassle than it's worth, especially when I can play Black Ops 3 and have a near perfect experience. All right, let's talk about some other zombies games made by other developers. Infinite Warfare Zombies works really, really well, which I think is just so great. I love having access to Infinite Warfare Zombies anywhere I go. However, I don't feel like this particular game translates very well into a handheld experience, but luckily there are ways around that. Advanced Warfare, aka Exo Zombies, World War II Zombies, and Extinction on Ghosts all are playable as well. This is a huge amount of accessible content in the palm of your hands, plus the entire library of custom BO3 Zombies maps. You can truly never run out of things to do on the Steam Deck as long as you're interested in the legacy content. A few moments ago, you may have noticed that I stated you are limited to your Steam library on the Steam Deck since it uses SteamOS and Linux to run all of your games and software. And this is a bit of an issue considering Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War, Vanguard, and Modern Warfare 2 are all Battle.net exclusive. I know there's a caveat with Modern Warfare 2, we'll get to that in just a second, but this means that none of the 8 BO4 maps, Gauntlets, Rush, Outbreak, Onslaught, the 4 Cold War maps, and none of the Vanguard Zombies experiences are playable. And that's a lot of content. The reason you're not able to run Battle.net games on your Steam Deck is because of Linux and the security issues or the anti-cheat that is baked into these newer CODs. So everything must launch on Windows. This includes Modern Warfare 2, unfortunately, even though it is on Steam. It still has the same security features that won't let it launch on Linux, which is just fucking stupid in my opinion. Now, I'm not going to cover the specifics of how to mod your Steam Deck. There are tons of videos explaining how to do it from experts far more knowledgeable than I, but essentially there are 2 routes you can take. You could either make Windows 10 or 11 your main operating system and get rid of SteamOS and Linux, or you can create a dual boot situation for yourself, which in my opinion is much more trouble than it's worth and is just not at a point in the modding process where you can seamlessly transition from Windows to Linux. Maybe it will be one day, but right now it's not. So whether you're a zombies, campaign, multiplayer, or battle royale fan, there are a lot of CODs that you're going to be missing out on, and I would say this is rather important to the experience of playing and keeping up with the modern trends, services, and events that Call of Duty has to offer. And if you simply can't play the newer titles because of the deliberate limitations by the developers and publishers, then is the deck something you should invest in? Eventually, the library of new CODs will outweigh the old ones, the servers for the old CODs will likely be shut down one day, and all of our precious memories will be flushed down the toilet like a bad breakfast burrito. However, if you decide to brave the storm of dual booting or using Windows as your main OS, you will be able to play these titles, albeit at a significant downgrade graphically, and stability is probably inconsistent since these games are built for more capable and newer architecture. There are tons of videos online of people playing Cold War or Warzone on the Steam Deck, so I recommend checking those out just to see how things fare performance-wise, because if you buy something for $400 and then invest all this time into modding your Steam Deck and it doesn't pan out the way you want to, well, I would say that is a waste of time and money, and nobody wants to go through that. I also should mention that Valve encourages modding and messing with your Steam Deck, so if you do go further than you are capable, there is a fix to make things to go back to the way they were when you bought the machine, so don't worry if you decide to bite off a little more than you can chew. All right, so a few times I had mentioned that depending on your method and or play style, the Steam Deck may fit a different niche for you that you may not have thought of, which begs the question, what the hell is a Steam Deck? Is it a console, a portable handheld? Is it a PC? And well, to be completely honest with you, it's all 3 of them. You can put this bad boy in your backpack, you can treat it like a PC and use it as your main computer if you so choose. You can also treat it like an Xbox or a PS5 and hook it up to your television. Not to mention all the peripherals you can plug into this thing. It is a Swiss Army knife of gaming. So if you just want to chill at home and get to round 50 on Origins, just plug this sucker into your TV and play with a controller. Or if you want to hook it up to an external monitor and use it as a PC, you can play with a mouse and keyboard as well. Keep in mind there may not be peripheral controls for every Call of Duty game out there with the Steam Deck, but you can make your own custom controls if you want. I think it's time to answer the question of today's video, and that is, should you buy the Steam Deck specifically for Call of Duty or Call of Duty Zombies? I would say that if you are a Call of Duty Zombies fan and want to have access to nearly every title and be able to play basically every single classic Zombies map that Treyarch or other developers have created, then I would say, yeah, you will really enjoy having a Steam Deck. And if you're into tons of other titles and gaming in general, then this is an amazing machine to have in your arsenal, as it can play a lot of AAA games or indies as long as you tweak the settings to make it work properly. Not to mention, you could turn this thing into a mini console, a mini PC, just use it as a handheld. The versatility is top notch, and it's an experience that you won't get with any other device on the market as of now. Yes, I know that there are these other portable PCs that you can buy on Amazon and stuff that are from China and whatnot, but those things are like $1,000 minimum, and then the cheaper ones don't don't work nearly as well as the Steam Deck. So for $400, getting the Steam Deck is definitely the best handheld product on the market, bar none. But should you buy this device if you are into the newer CODs only, and if Call of Duty is the only game you play, then I would say probably not. You're going to be missing out on a ton of new content until either Activision moves over to Microsoft or Steam changes from Linux to Windows. It's going to be very limiting if you are not into the older Call of Duties or the co-op play that those games have to offer. So I would say no, unless you're like, into other types of video games. But if you're not, if you're just a COD dude, then no, I probably would say stay away from the Steam Deck. From a personal standpoint, I think my main issue with this device from, a zombie's point of view is that it's not great for content creation. So if you're into recording your gameplay and making videos, which you can do with this, I suppose, it's not powerful or fluid as a PC or console at the end of the day. So you're going to be missing out on some features from a creative standpoint that would be much better suited with a PC and a console and a capture card. I also haven't played any online co-op matches on the Steam Deck, and I have a feeling that it wouldn't really be that great of an experience since you are managing your communication software and your gaming experience on one less than powerful machine. But the biggest caveat of all goes to the portability category. While you can take this thing nearly anywhere you want, you're always going to have to be plugged into the wall if you want extended playtime. I don't think that you could complete the Origins Easter egg running at max settings at 60 frames per second on one battery charge. Or if you do, the battery is going to be pretty close to dying. So if you have to keep your Steam Deck plugged into the wall all the time just to play these zombies games or any type of first-person shooter, is it really worth buying the Steam Deck? Well, I'm just going to have to let you decide the answer to that question. So we're going to end there, guys. Now, I just want to say some of the most fun I have had with the Steam Deck is just sitting in bed, listening to an audiobook or a podcast, and just mindlessly killing some zombies. So for me, that's what I like it for. But your results may vary depending on the type of person and player that you are. All I'm here to tell you is that you can use a Steam Deck as your one and done main machine for Call of Duty Zombies. To a point, that is. But those caveats are rather large and not necessarily easy to step over for the time being. But as time and technology improve, which they most certainly will, these issues won't be prevalent. But until then, make your choices wisely and use your money intelligently. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.